It is always very interesting to me how quickly people get into their feelings when it comes to matters of the heart. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for season 1, episode 2 of Young, Famous, and African. Listen, when it comes to matters of the heart, folks will fall into their feelings so quickly, it just make your head spin. And that's what happened here in this second episode. But listen, let's start right here. We started off with Swanky and Annie. Annie was going through some little things. You know, she again missing being at home with her girls, and Swanky, that's like her bestie. So he had set up this whole. They did a trip up in a helicopter. I was like, okay. So Annie was like I would be. They scared the hell out of her. So she's like, okay. They did the little helicopter ride. That kind of, you know, perked her up a little bit. She was having a little bit of fun. They had this conversation. Well, first of all, let me talk about this top. There was this really sharp red little concoction that Swanky had on. It was a shirt that had fringes sewn very strategically on the back. It had like a V-shaped seam in the back, and there were fringes on it, but it was only in the back and on the back part of the sleeve. Really interesting. Then he had these pants. Now, I wasn't crazy about that print. And they were like capri pants with these red boots. I was like, okay. And then he had this little, I was like, he had a lot going on. But the one thing that did stand out was the shirt. The shirt was sharp. It really was. Anyway, so he ended up having a conversation with Annie. And he was trying to, and he was correct. He was correct. He was telling her about the conversation that she had with Kanye the night before at the ball, and he was saying, I understand that you're passionate about what you're saying as far as the parenting thing, but you cannot expect her to parent the way that you parent, and he is 200% correct. Listen, this is the thing. Some things are just really out there. The whole thing about a 15-year-old having their own apartment, it's just out there. It's kind of, I don't care where you live. I don't care what continent you live on. A 15-year-old being turned loose in their own apartment, I'm not a fan of. But this is the thing when it comes to parenting. Children do not come with a manual. It's not like going buying a baby doll. They don't come with a manual. And a lot of times, you're growing up right along with them. And it's your first go-round. She only has the one daughter, and she was, what, 20 when she had her? They growing up together, so it just is what it is. And I say all that, as long as the child is not in complete danger or really hurting anyone else, then you have to kind of step back and say, you know what? Parenting is just that. It's parenting. The way you parent may be completely different than the way I parent. But I can't stand flat-footed tell you that the way you're parenting is wrong, and that the way I'm parenting is right. No, what you're doing for you is good for you. What I'm doing for me is good for me. And you kind of just got to leave it there. Anytime there comes to a conversation like that, it is going to get dicey. It really is. It's going to get dicey. It's just the way that it is. People hold their parenting real close to their chest, as they should. It's your baby. The decisions are yours. And when you make the decisions, you damn well should be able to stand in the decisions you made. And a lot of times the decisions that you make are not going to be, they're not going to be received well in the court of public opinion. But it really ain't, at the end of the day, it ain't really about the court of public opinion. It's about you and that child and what y'all got going on. So it just is what it is. I said all of that to say this. I still wouldn't put my 15-year-old girl into an apartment by herself. That's like, for me, it feels like a recipe for disaster. because 15-year-old girls, honey, they get just as hot up underneath their belt as 15-year-old boys. And the thing is, I don't think, unfortunately, 15-year-old girls, your problem usually isn't with a 15-year-old boy. It's probably with a 25-year-old man is where the issue starts to come in. And to give them their free reign of their own space, I just would never do it. I would never do it. But again, at the end of the day, how you parent is how you parent. How I parent is how I parent. The decisions that we make are on us, and we have to deal with those decisions. And that's basically what Swanky was telling her. He was telling her completely right. And you just met her, and you were going hard. You were going hard. She's like, listen, and again, that's a mother thing. That's a mother thing. She was stern in what she felt. I respect it on both ends. I don't like it on Kanye's end and what her decision was. I don't like it, but it ain't my business. So I can go on and on with that for like 2 days. But anyway, put it in the comments what you all think. Do you think it's okay, 15-year-old to have her own apartment? Where you're not actually because it's not like she's emancipated and there's some problems going on in her. No, she's just literally, she's like, I'm the parent that I wanted to have. Well, we see from your personality, you were pretty wild. You're pretty, you got your own thing going on. So I can imagine you at 15, you would want that kind of freedom. Wouldn't have got it around my way. But anyway, moving on. So then we had a scene with Kanye and Cons, her daughter Cons. And she actually is talking to Cons about basically the conversation and how do you feel about me as a parent and this, that, and the other, honey. And the daughter, I said, girl, okay, now I understand why y'all do what y'all do. Because I was confused about who was the parent in the room. Was it Cons or was it Kanye? Because you're in there consorting with her about your choices parenting, and she had to tell you, I think you're doing a wonderful job parenting me. I was like, okay, girl, whatever. Who is the parent here? Cons seem to have just as good a sense or better sense than Kanye. But I said, okay, that was very strange to me. And she was just as satisfied once Cons gave her approval on how she was parenting her. She was just as satisfied. I said, yeah, okay, moving on. Next week, see DJ Naked, Diamond, and Andale. They went to play golf. Now, there was a whole lot revealed in this little golf outing that they had. Andale was doing what he does. He was over there asking all them daggone questions. Are you missing home yet? Talking to Diamond. He's picking Diamond. Do you still love the first woman that you had your first 2 kids with, their mom, which is Zari? I kept calling her Zori last night. It's when I did the last review. It's not Zori, it's Zari. Her name is Zari. A little bit start coming out. He actually cheated on Zari, and he went out and he had another baby on her and all of this, and a couple times, and it just, he messed it up. He messed it up, okay? And they're separated. DJ Naked actually said the only thing that he did wrong was that he got caught. He was away from home. He had needs. He got those needs taken care of, but he got caught because he ended up leaving babies. And I'm like, well, that tells a lot about the way you feel about things. You need to sit your ass down. Okay? So, this is the thing. We met Zari in this episode, and she's no pushover. So, all that they talk about on that little golf course, they can go ahead and sit on down with that. She ain't with it, okay? So, it was real interesting once we met her. But this is what was going on over there on the field. And I'm like, again, I told you that Andale needs to, he needs to be watched. I need more about his story because you sitting in a lot of judgment, my friend. A lot of judgment. You ask a lot of questions. I think we need to ask you some questions. What's your real background? What you got going on for real, for real? You just sitting around grinning and smiling with these pretty teeth. And I got some questions for you, Pally boy. Anyway, moving on. So then we had a scene where we had Kanye and we had Nadia. Baby, this wig that Nadia had on, what is that? What is that, Nadia? You got this wig on. It's a lace front. The front part is slick. It's like a straight, like the hair she had on before. But now you got these, what look like dreads attached to it. Just a mess. It just, no. 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 You're way too pretty for that dumb stuff. That wig looks like week 3 of hair school. Ooh, I learned 3 things. I'm going to put all these things on here. Trust me, I went to hair school. I got a license, and that's what they used to do. We would be in class, and there would be some people that would be so excited about what they learned. They'd be like, okay, so we learned finger waves. We also learned spirals, and we also learned how to put in a few tracks. Baby, them girls and guys was going through some waves in the back with spirals on one side and 3 tracks straight on the other side, and you be looking at it like, that is not a hairstyle. That is a mess, is what that is. It's a train wreck. But that's what it looked like. Like you just were in beauty school, and I learned these 2 things, and I'm going to do it. I'll learn how to do these dreads. I'm going to put them up on here on top of this. I learned how to do a relaxer, too, so I'm going to do both of them. I'm going to put a relaxer in the front. I'm going to dread the back. Just, it looked a mess, and then it was blonde. So it was just big and blonde, and I didn't like it. It was a no for me. But anyway, Nadia, Kanye, and Kaylee actually met up, and Kanye went right in on just these questions. They were wanting to get to know her because she don't really know her. She's friends with DJ Naked, and they just picking her. And Kanye's leading the charge. Are y'all on protection? Are you ready to get married? I was like, woo, all these personal questions. And, it went well. The conversation went well. Kaylee held her own with them. She told her, I am ready, for marriage. I'm ready, I'm ready for him to ask me, even with the little bit of problems that they've been having. And they were telling her, like, girl, you gotta put your foot down. You gotta put your foot down. But just those invasive questions from somebody that you don't know. I said, oh my God. Next after that, we see Nadia and Diamond. They actually, they finally go ahead and have their little date. They go out to a car dealership. Very interesting. Very interesting. Right away, Nadia has old Diamond with his nose. Oh, his nose is wide open, baby. She come in there with this little tiny mini dress on, bopping around with these old lovely yellow pumps. I said, girl, get him, honey. He was following around like a little puppy dog. But it's kind of problematic for me how he just moves. And he's like, yeah, I know you in a relationship. I'm not worried about your relationship. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about nothing that I got going on. And I ain't worried about your relationship. And I'm like, okay, girl, that needs to send up a red flag. Because again, I just told you, whatever y'all do, it's not going to work because neither one of you will ever trust the other one. Period. Period. And I think just this little bit of time that I've been watching, I think you hook up with him, it won't just be that he doesn't trust you. He won't respect you either. He won't respect you. I don't think so. I think once the newness wears off, you just be another piece of tail. But right now, you're doing a good job, sis, because you got his nose wide open. Wide open, like some of these tunnels that we have around here in Pittsburgh. Wide open. I said, oh my gosh. Following around with his little self. And he really is. It's so funny how small he looks standing next to her. Little child. Anyway, moving on. Annie and Kanye. I said, what? Kanye shows up at Annie's place, and baby, they have this sit down. That sit down they had was a mess. I said, are we serious right now? Kanye had this really pretty white suit on. She's like, I can't really sit down. So I'm just going to sit on the edge of this couch here. And I was like, why can't you sit down? This is too little. It's too tight. But she's sitting there. I really don't believe that. I believe she just wanted to be sitting because she's real petty. So I think she really wanted to be sitting at an elevated position. So she was basically looking down on her. And that's what I believe, Miss Kanye. I believe you wanted to be sitting up higher than her. And so you could talk down to her a little taste. They get to going back and forth, and they went directly into the conversation about the kid thing again. And she starts comparing her situation with Annie's situation about her being there, actually working and filming the show and stuff. She's like, girl, listen, she said, you left your kids in a whole nother country with another woman. And I'm like, girl, stop, Miss Kanye, stop. Girl, that's apples and oranges. She left her kids with her husband and her mother, like normal people do when they have to have a babysitter. There's no better babysitter than your mama, in most cases. But she was trying to compare that and telling her, you're a worse parent than me. And it was like the conversation was going nowhere. It was getting a little bit heated, but both of them was trying to keep face and. But I was like, girl, Miss Connie, and she felt so empowered when she left there, like she had won. Girl, no, you went over there playing semantics and sounding foolish. But girl, go ahead, and that's what Annie was like. Okay, girl, have at it, Annie, because you're foolish. That was that. So she goes on about her business. Then we meet Zari. Zari, the boss lady. She is Diamond's first two children's mother and friends with Kanye, as something came out. Here it is. She has 3 children from an ex, and then she has 2 children by Diamond, okay? Her 2 youngest are by Diamond. They are cool, but they weren't always cool. Kanye and Zari weren't always cool. There was a situation where Kanye kind of stepped on Zari's toes a little bit. She said, I saw you in a film bumping and grinding with my ex at a club. And she's like, oh, girl, that was so long ago, and it was just this, that, and the other. She was trying to really talk it down like it wasn't anything. And she was like, okay. And of course, Kanye's there doing that same, all them questions. And she says, I feel she's still angry and hurt about Diamond cheating on her. And you correct. She ain't, she ain't through with it. And she ain't through with his ass. But we'll get into that. But she ain't done with it. She ain't done with it. And she don't appreciate how things went down, okay? And said that we co-parent very well. We co-parent well. But I ain't over what happened. I was like, all right, girl. So then after this, Diamond actually had this Arabian night party, okay? So he invites everybody to this party at his place, and it's like mixed with the African culture and also some Arabian culture as well. Everybody shows up for the party. And then, of course, Swanky shows up late. Swanky came in there with this whole robe, and it had a train. I said, you are a whole lot Swanky. A whole lot. When I say swirled up in the joint, swirled. And they told us, you came in there like you owned it. This is what you're supposed to do. And I came late on purpose because I came to make it in the trunk. So I was like, okay, Swanky. I said, I'm saying, so be happy. I took my cape and I laid it over there, and I'm sitting down on the ground with you all. They're outside. It looked real nice. So the party was real nice. Um, and then there was like, there's one more guest coming, and they're all there. I'm wondering now, why is Nadia sitting on one side of the table and Diamond is sitting on the other side of the table? Then the special guest came, baby. It was Miss Zari. When I tell you Miss Zari rolled up in that mother, she was draped in white, honey. And everybody was saying the same thing. So she came in here like she was the queen. When she rolled in, Dog Kanye wants to say, oh, she came in like the madame of the house. She just arrived. You damn bad shit. You goddamn bad shit. She rolled up in there. She just as tall and gorgeous, honey, came in and was looking at them like, this is Arabian night, honey. What is these short dresses and these people? You know, Arabian folk. They're glam. They're gorgeous. They're royalty. What is these short dresses? Sitting on the ground. I was like, oh, she's so shady, honey. But she came in. Nadia didn't know that Zari was actually coming. So her face was completely cracked. Completely cracked. Zari came in, she had a gift for Diamond. And she came in and he greeted her. And it was just like stars in his eyes. And you could tell right away, he ain't done with Zari either. He ain't done with her. And he's not. He is still very much in love with that woman. And when I say Nadia was feeling some type of way, she was feeling some type of way because she ended up having a conversation with Anderle naturally later on. And she was like, I feel they're still actually together. I mean, that's how they were acting. Baby, they was all in each other's neck and all of this. Then something else happened that was weird. Annie's husband actually FaceTimed her. And she showed her card where she's like, oh, it's my husband. And she was just so happy. And they were looking at her like, girl, who's that excited about their husband? Well, truly, all of you, I mean, that's the whole point of having a husband. He's supposed to make you feel like that. But we know her husband is a complete dog, honey. But listen, her nose was wide open. I said, okay. Then she finds out that Annie's husband actually knows Zari. He definitely knows because of the industry. He knows Diamond. And he talked to him on FaceTime. And then when he saw Zari, he's like, oh, and Zari's like, she's a little aggravated that she knows that he knows me. And she wants to know how I know her husband. Listen, I just know him. But I can tell she's a little uncomfortable. And Zari was here for the fact that Annie was uncomfortable with it. Wanted to know how I know her husband. Because you know it's the issue when people know her husband. But anyway, so that was really interesting. I was like, okay, all right. Miss Annie got to the party and was fussing already. So I said, Annie, everywhere you go, stop it. Stop it. Don't do that. She had a real pretty, it was a short dress, but it was like blue sequins and some other things going on. It was real pretty. But anyway, and they had like a head wrap too. It was very Rachel Mayer. And I said, get down, honey. The bodyguard. Whitney Houston, y'all. Anyway, very interesting. She was very confused. That Nadia was really off her square. And that's why I said in the beginning of this review, when it comes to matters of the heart, now y'all only been hanging out for a day, and girl, you all the way in your feelings. She felt a little disrespected, as she should. As she should. Why am I even invited here with this lady? When you know you in love with this lady, and we could tell that you are surely in love with this lady. When I tell you, Zari sat over there, she pulled him to the side, they went over and they sat and they talked. She got Diamond's ass so thoroughly together about what had happened up to this point and how he didn't have her back and he was not the husband to her that he should. She was not letting him live. She gave it all to him. Baby, he took it like a G. He took it like a G. And he's sitting there now. His whole thing was, he gets it. What she's saying. but he still ain't ready to be who it is he needs to be for her to be happy, though he don't want to turn her loose. So he's in a very sticky position, but he still want to do what he want to do. I don't know what you gonna do, little diamond, but Zari ain't here for your foolishness. She is not here for your foolishness, and she's not here for biting her tongue. She got you all the way together, all the way together, until you can get over there and see them kids. I was like, wow, very interesting, very, very interesting. But again, this episode, the clothes. I mean, you just, oh, the clothes are just, I'm just dying here with these outfits from episode to episode. You know, I love it. I'm just like, oh, y'all are doing it for me with these clothes, honey. Everything is flowing and this good fabric, honey. Ain't no Joanne fabric floating around here, baby. They got clothing. You understand me? And then they wearing the hell out of it. I am enjoying myself. This has been the second episode of season 1 of Young, Famous, and African. Listen, I will catch you all on the next episode. Like I said, fabulous fashions, money everywhere, honey. Lavish, pretty sets, and just a good time. Like it's just a good time. And the storyline ain't half bad, baby. They messy as hell. Anyway, I'll see y'all next time. Later.